welcome to another episode of Unbroken Marketer. Today we have Tanner Chidester. I think I said that right.
Perfect, dude.
I got it right.
That's perfect.
With us, pleasing us with this company out here in Dubai. And Tanner started in college, started in fitness, went into online coaching and sales, and now he's moving into private equity. And so he's going to share his story and the lessons along the way with all of us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. Excited.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like only American in Dubai.
Yeah. Well, I guess it makes
besides
two
me,
of us.
yeah, besides me. So it's
only
cool.
two Americans and we're in the podcast studio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we get down to the beginning of the story, where did your journey begin? And as you're now moving into private equity and you're moving into these bigger plays and you've had, the successes and you've had the lessons, can you take us back to the beginning and kind of how that story has shifted into your evolution to where you're at now?
Sure. Do you want me to go like back to childhood, start there, or to start kind of when I got into business?
You go.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be quick on the childhood. So, grew up, one of 7 kids, LDS family, very conservative. Mom was a teacher, dad was a teacher. Mom stayed at home. So very religious, conservative, not a lot of money to go around, so to speak. Basically got bullied a ton as a kid. I was the first boy, and then obviously a very conservative household, so like I didn't fit in at school. Like I didn't even know what the F word was. I think I was like 10, 12 or something. It was like, I was old. And they started bullying me a lot, and that actually pissed me off so much I started working out. Like I told my dad, I was like, hey, I want to do this for sports, but I really just wanted to beat these kids up because I was a really nice kid. I really was. Like I know one time, like some people are like, no, I don't believe, but one time I was, and these kids would just mess with me ruthlessly, bro. So I started working out like 6 a.m. before school. And then I remember like 3 months into it, I'm 12 years old, going through puberty. I remember people started like complimenting, like, yo, bro, you're getting jacked. Teachers like, yo, are you like, what are you doing? Cause like I'm 12. And I was like, yo, this is cool. Like it was like first time I had that positive reinforcement of hard work. And so I kept doing that, really excelled in sports, wanted to play in the NFL. That didn't work out. I don't think I was good enough. Also, like I got to Division I, but I don't think I was good enough, and I had a lot of injuries. And then I was just doing school, and it was fun for maybe 3 months. And then I was doing petroleum engineering, but I just was like, man, dude, if this is the rest of my life, like, kill me now. Like, I just was like, I realized I was only there for sports. I didn't give a crap about school, so I had a mentor. You probably don't. I mean, I don't know how you think you know him.
At what age?
This mentor?
Yeah.
Like at this point, because from 12 to 22 is like all sport. And then at 22, that's when I dropped out, and I had that mentor. And the reason we actually connected is he's friends with my dad. They're trying to get me to go back to church. And I feel bad to this day because like he kept his side of the agreement. I really didn't. He was like, hey, if you go back to church, I'll help you with business and da-da. And like, I don't think I went for more than a few weeks. And he taught me about, he said like, hey, like you should start an online business, et cetera. I said like, in what? And so he said fitness. He's like, you've done fitness your whole life, do this. So for 2 years, I really struggled because he was more low ticket. And low ticket isn't bad. It's just for people who are hearing low ticket, it's like say it's under $100. And I didn't have money for ads, and I didn't have a big social media presence. So anytime I made sales, it was like lunch money, right? It was like, I didn't go anywhere. So I'm turning 25. And I was going to go back to school. I was like, man, I have a year left. I can make $100,000 a year. Like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to go back. And he would always be like, don't go back. Don't go back. He's like, if you find a girl and you're making $100,000 a year, she's not going to want you to go. Just like, suck it up. Figure it out. So I stayed out, and then I saw an ad online that was like how to start an online fitness business. I clicked on it. I wasn't familiar at all really with high ticket. And I got on the call, super high pressure sale. They drained my bank account. I had $2,000, I think, at the time, and I paid $5,000 on a credit card. And so I was like, dude, if this doesn't work, I'm fucked, right? So I get in there, and basically, I'm going through all these videos, a bunch of rah-rah hoopla stuff, and I'm just like, dude, I'm just a straight shooter. I'm like, guys, just tell me what I need to do. They're like, okay, cool. Reach out to your followers, raise your price from $47 to $1,500, and close them over the phone. And at that point, I'd done, server jobs. I've been an athlete. I was a door-to-door salesman. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's what I paid $5,000 for. And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I literally didn't think it was going to work, but I started doing it. And I made $10,000 that week. I was like, oh shit. Like I couldn't believe it worked. And I actually was upset because for 2 years I was working probably, I was working all day. Like I'd do a side job. I'd make 3,000 USD a month. And then I would go work on the business and make nothing. And I was like, dude, I could watch Netflix or just hang out with chicks or whatever. And my life wasn't moving forward, obviously. Like I'm 22, 25, like my net worth stayed literally the same, if not worse. So when I finally made money, it was a little bit of relief, but it was a little bit of like pissed off. Like I was this close the whole time, and that's all I had to do. So anyways, when that happened, I remember I was doing door-to-door sales, and I immediately quit. And I called my parents. I was like, "Yo, I figured this thing out. Like, let me come home. I'm gonna pay you guys like a little bit of rent money, but I want to, instead of like, I think I was paying $3,000 a month of rent. So I was like, hey, I'll pay you guys $1,000. You won't ever see me. Just let me put all the money in the business." And my dad's like, "Yeah, as long as you're not like pillaging and plundering and using drugs, whatever." He didn't care. So I went home, and then that year I just grinded. Went 0 to $1 million. And then it got a bunch of ClickFunnels awards. People started finding out about me a bit. And then I had a bunch of trainers ask me for help. And so that's kind of how I got into the business part. It wasn't a plan. It just kind of happened. That year I went to 10 million, which was crazy. To this day, that was the craziest year of my life, like to 10X, like Grant Cardone was like 10X, like it was like that. And then I had more people outside of the fitness space ask for help. And that's what got me kind of into general consulting. And then that was Elite CEOs for the last 6 years. And then I would say like not recently, but it's a bigger transition because I'm transitioning to private equity, and private equity just takes more time because you're more selective, you're more picky. Some of the companies you're investing money into, you can't necessarily run ads per se. You can kind of, but like there's way less people who are qualified. So it's just more upstream. And that transition happened because when I got to 2 million a month, so I went 0 to $1 million in 18 months, and I got to 2 million, like I want to say in 3 years. And I couldn't get higher, and I was like, man, why can't I get higher? And I was looking around, like no one was really doing more. Like there's a few people, but especially in consulting or coaching, whatever you want to call it, there wasn't. And I started interviewing billionaires. I'm like, these billionaires don't do this shit. And I started to realize that most billionaires are, I said this to you off camera, in private equity, tech, or hedge funds, because they either cut out the worst clients. So private equity, it's like, hey, they take the best companies only, or it has to work for even stupid people. So like think of Uber. Like you can be dumb and type in an address, right? Or Facebook. You can be dumb and like get on Facebook and type something in, right? The problem with like coaching or consulting is like, if you think of athletes, you cannot coach an athlete to greatness. It's like he's good or he's not. You make him a little better, but like a 3 is still like a 5 and he sucks. So people don't like to hear that. But the reality is no matter how good I make a program or a course or coach, someone sucky is still going to suck because it's dependent on their effort. And so you have to make something that either does not depend on their effort, AKA hedge funds. You just take someone's money and invest it, or Uber Eats, like a tech platform, or you just go, hey, going to cut out all the idiots and keep the best clients. And so for me now in private equity, I basically am looking for unique opportunities, like a unique offer has an advantage. And then I'm looking for a good CEO. And usually minimum, like for me, if they're not doing at least $25,000 a month, I don't want to say they're bad, but it just means they don't have the skill set probably for me to tell them what to do and they can execute on it. It's going to be way too much, oh yeah, say this on your sales call, do like the micro stuff. And I just really like to work with companies on the macro and scale them that way. So anyways, yeah, that's where I'm at now. Yeah.
So when you were saying that you were really kind of angry that you were this close the entire time and it was just access to that information, is that basically kind of what you've taken into a lot of your offers and a lot of the programs you've built that got you to where you're at today?
Yeah. So it was like a silver lining, right? So for 2 years, when I wasn't making money, the cool part was my mentor at the time taught me all about funnels and opt-in pages and emails and Facebook ads and like how to set up stuff and the text, like a lot of the nitty gritty that most people really don't know how to do. So I learned all this nitty gritty stuff, but it wasn't translating to dollars. Once I learned about high ticket, it's like I took all of that knowledge and then I transferred it, and it was like lights out because I just raised my prices. I could make money. And then all the stuff I learned about funnels and emails and opt-ins and like all the little technical side, it actually got transferred over. So it sucked, but it was still a silver lining. And, like all the jobs I'd done, like being an athlete or being a server or being a door-to-door salesman, once I got into high ticket sales, it's like if you do door-to-door sales, like this is a joke. It's like, oh, they want to be on the phone with me. Door-to-door sales, I'll knock on the door and they're like, yo, get the F out of here. And I'm still getting them to stop, potentially let me in the house and sell them something, right? So yeah, hopefully I answered your question, but it was kind of a silver line where I learned things that helped me down the road. But at the time, what was I going to do? Like knowing that stuff, it's like, okay, $47 sell, like that doesn't change my life. Usually I tell people you got to 2 or 3x your income until it actually will change your life, no matter what you're making. Because if you're doubling, if you make $5,000 a month, you make 10, it's like that will change your life. Well, if you make 10 and you make 20, that'll change your life. But when you're making 47 and then you make, 3, 1,000. It's like it's not enough, right? Like it's just not a big enough jump, and that was kind of the issue I was having with low ticket.
So, dropping out of college and where you're at to today, I think a big discussion right now, because I think this is 100% correlated to the risks you took, the journey that you took, is college in or is college out? And is the learning more actual like implementation and like actually taking someone's program that's done a thing and then applying it?
So I personally, just looking at my college experience and where I've gone in business and what I've accomplished, I think college is pointless. I mean, I had very good grades in college. Like I was a straight A student. I had 3.9 GPA. Like I was doing petroleum engineering. I was in the number 2 school in the country. I actually transferred to Texas A&M. That's where I was going to finish. Like the stuff you're learning is ridiculous. Like I was in 6th mass of a calculus 3. So it was like, and there weren't even numbers. It was just letters. Like people are like, what math are you in? I'm like, it's the alphabet. So like, I'm not saying like, and I think that's what makes you smart is because you realize like you could take one topic and you can dive down to the depths of the earth. It's crazy like how far you can go in like one subject. But at the end of the day, all the stuff I've learned to make money was like from doing stuff. Like it was like from paying people who were doing things that generated money and learning those skills. So if it's kind of two-edged coin, like it's a two-sided coin. So if you look back at what I went through, I think I learned things like kind of traits like personal development, hard work, effort, tenacity, drive, like stuff like that. Did I learn business skills? Not really, but sometimes I wonder if I took those things out. Like I didn't do door-to-door sales, I didn't play sports, I didn't like it, you kind of wonder like, would you have the traits necessary when you get those skills to actually drive? Because you'll meet some people and, for lack of a better word, they're just soft. Like they're super soft. And so even if they have the skills, like you don't know if it's going to translate. So I'm not saying always, but for example, I usually find people who play sports at least once. Not saying you have to, but like they've learned to like go through obstacles and, their coaches have cussed them out. Like it's not always fun, right? But they keep doing it anyways, or like working out or door-to-door sales. Like you learn these traits and skills that are very helpful in business. But, if I look back, like if my kid comes up, instead of sending him to college, I'll just send him to door-to-door sales. I'm like, bro, like I'm going to send you out here for 6 months. See you in 6 months. And the amount of like mental strength and physical strength he'll get from that. I mean, that was the hardest thing to this day I've ever done. Like that was harder than growing, making 9 figures. Like it was that hard because you get dropped on a door. You're out there for 8 hours. It's hot. You're sweaty. People are rude. They're pulling guns on you, calling cops and shit. People hate you. All for one sale that you make like what, $500. And then I started, selling online and running ads and stuff like that. And I was like, this is a joke. Like I would take sales calls like in my boxers and I'd close people. It's like, this is a fucking joke. Like I make $2,000, $3,000. I'm like in an hour, and it would take me a full day to make $500. And so like I would say maybe there's some traits in college that help me, but to be honest, you can get those traits out of college. So I guess to summarize, like I'd say no. Like, unless you need the degree, unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, something where you have to have that degree, even engineering, I needed the degree. But if you're not going to do that, it's really just, to me, it's like, it's a waste of time. I'm not like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're better off doing door-to-door sales or working in someone's company and learning the skills. And then on top of that, you're not out the money that you're paying to the college. Because a lot of degrees now, even I think about my team, I'd have never asked someone for their resume, not their resume, their diploma. I don't care. I just don't care what your paper says. Like, I want to know what skills you have and can you drive the result I'm looking for. So for me, or for anyone who's trying to build a business, I don't think it's a good use of time now.
Yeah. And like going to the private equity space and coming from the online coaching space and creating programs and selling online, has AI... how's that impacted what you were doing 5 years ago versus what you're doing it right now? And do you think that plays a role in how people should be approaching the education, the college, and, kind of that journey that you went on?
Yeah. I don't think it's affected it too crazy yet. Like the way I view it is maybe in the past you'd have, let's say, 5 copywriters. Now you can have 1 copywriter, right? Or if you had, I don't know, 6 account managers, now you have 3. Like it makes it so that the person can do more work with AI, right? But do I think AI is good enough yet to replace salespeople? Do I think it's good enough yet to replace like setters? Not really. Like maybe if it's a lower level lead, like a B2C lead customer, but B2B, No, like you and me would like sniff it out. Like you can tell there's a lag, stuff like that. I do think like there's benefits in like editing or images, like graphic design, like stuff like that. But it's just kind of micro stuff that lets you move things faster. Or for example, one of the things I'll do now is I'll say, hey, create me a VSL. And then I go in and edit it. And that used to take me, 3-4 hours. Now it can be done in 30 minutes. Right? Because as long as I put in enough info, it can like spit out a good script, something like that. In terms of like the future and how people should think about it, I mean, you can either learn AI and then like sell AI solutions to people, or you can just use it to accelerate your business growth. I'm probably more the latter. Like, I don't really want to keep, like, I don't really have a huge, I think I've kind of burned out, like in coaching and consulting. Like, yeah, there's some benefit, but it's more fun when you find people who kind of have the skills, at least for me, and then you can go in and just move a few levers and it just grows like crazy. And those are usually higher level entrepreneurs where I'm not talking more to them about strategy, not, all right, did you message people enough? Did you say this on the call? Like, that's just lower level stuff that I'm just kind of burned out on. I don't enjoy it. So yeah.
Well, and no, that's super. So it's complementary. It's not a replacement.
Yeah. Yeah. It's complementary unless you have a smaller team. It's kind of like their own personal coach. Like sometimes I'll throw stuff. I mean, I've actually liked it for my personal life. Like I'll say like, where's the best places to go this time of the year? And where's the best like hotels? And it like spits stuff. Yeah. Like I like it for that because you used to have to Google search and you spend so much time and now it'll like give me, yeah, go here, go here, go here. I'm like, yeah, perfect. So it's funny. Like I've actually used it probably more in my personal life than business, but sometimes too, like for example, I'll do a call. Like here's how I can use it in business. I'll do a call with a potential portfolio company. I'll take the transcript, upload it. I'll put in a few notes and stuff, and I'm like, yo, what do you think? And it's like, here's the pros, here's the cons. And it's kind of nice because it's kind of like instant feedback from a smart source because it's pulling data from so many places. And, in the past, you didn't get that. Like, who did I ask? And then even if you did ask someone, you have to pay them or they wouldn't have as much maybe knowledge. So I use it usually to get feedback on stuff. It's almost like my own personal coach or to do stuff in my personal life. For example, if I want to eat at a new place, I'm not like looking stuff up. I'm just like, yo, give me the top 10 places in Dubai. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. I just pick one. So that's kind of how I've used it. Everyone to each their own. But, I think the one downside is it can make some people lazy, right? Because you could tell when some people, I even notice with myself, like if I do a video where I script it, like sometimes I'm like, yo, that doesn't sound natural, bro. But if I just take the basic points of the video and then I kind of shoot off the cuff, it just sounds a lot better, more natural. But that takes more effort, right? So anytime things take effort, people usually don't want to do that. So I think the downside could be is people will get dumber because it's so good at, just giving people what they want to hear, what they need, that they're just like, yeah, instead of me taking, an extra 10 minutes to think of something on my own, I'll just like say what this is telling me to say. That's kind of like the downside, but I think obviously there's pros and cons to everything, but there's more pros and cons with AI.
So are you planning on having kids?
Yeah, bro. Like a year ago is what's crazy is like less than a year ago. Full transparency, I was really struggling, like thinking about being with one girl for the rest of my life. Like that was really terrifying for me. And so with that, kids, like, I mean, they probably weren't even on the table. I think by like sometime next year, I'll have kids. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about obviously all of your life experiences, everything that you're doing, how you're seeing AI change the world, seeing AI make people dumber? How do you see yourself as a father raising your child? Obviously, you have tons of expertise and background and knowledge, so you have a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
How do you see kind of the AI and kind of like the traditional, like you said, like, college, it's not required, and there's other routes.
Yeah.
How do you see you raising your kid in this new world that is developing based on the AI and your life experiences? I think it's just a super insightful question.
No, it's a good question. So I'm not really that worried about the AI. Like, I just really am not. I just think, if you look back at like human history, everything changes. Like I remember my dad, when I started doing online, he's like, that wasn't even an option when I was your age. And then obviously when our kids are older, AI is going to be like, it'd be crazy. It's like in 20 years, think about how far it's going to go. So I don't worry about it too much because it's just, you don't know. And it's going to be, obviously, it'll be different than when we were kids, and they'll have better opportunities. I look back at my childhood, and the thing that I think was the most detrimental was my parents trying to tell me everything they wanted me to do, kind of like forcing you into it. And, I just think end of the day, obviously my parents are a little more religious, so that's probably, it came from a good place. But when you tell kids like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're not going to do this, and you force people to do stuff, they push back really hard at some point. I think even like if you look at most of the biggest like OF stars, they always have like a dad as a pastor or something. No, I'm serious, because like they rebel, bro. So I think that was the most detrimental. It made me who I am. So maybe not. That's the hard part, is because your bad stuff that happens to you also shapes you. But that was probably the most detrimental, at least from my point of view. The thing that was most helpful was just watching my dad. Like, I remember my dad, because he's a teacher, he has 7 kids, right? So people are like, well, how did you guys make, and it's me. He's like, he made more money from his odd jobs than as a teacher. He just loved teaching. So growing up, I remember like he would take us, like as a little kid, like 5 years old, 6 years old, we'd go and clean buildings, right? Or we'd clean the buildings he worked at to make more money. Or we go power wash kids' lawns, or not, excuse me, their lawns, their driveways. And like, they're my friends, and they're like, yo, bro, like, why are you here? And I just like, oh, my dad is so... And I hated him at the time, but as I got older, I realized my dad worked harder than any other guy. And then I got those traits. And so when I started going into sports and to college and all this stuff, I was like, oh, like, this is like, these people are pussies, honestly, right? Like, they're soft. Like, I can beat these people. And most of my friends who came from wealthy families, like, I don't envy them because their kids are so dependent on them. My dad was like, yeah, dude, like, if you want to go to college, you better get a scholarship. Good luck. I mean, he's like, I can't pay. He's like, I can't pay for that crap, or I can't pay for cars. Like, good luck, bro. And that kind of developed me into who I am today. So going to my kids, what I'm going to do is, I think, and people might disagree with this, but I think kids are a lot like animals in the sense of, let me clarify what I mean by that. You see a shitty dog, almost always like it's a shitty owner. They didn't train them. They didn't teach them. I think it's the same thing with kids. Like, I know it sounds terrible, but if I see like an out of shape parent, usually their kids are out of shape. If I see a lazy parent, their kids are lazy. Like, you could have a kid till 5 years old and never give him sweets, and he won't even know the difference. How would he know? He has no, like, for the most part, right? No access to the outside world. Obviously, after 5, they go to school and they start interacting. But you could have a kid who doesn't know what sweets are, like, doesn't know what bad things are. So to me, it's like I'll have a little bit more influence when they're younger. Like, I'll probably be like trying to get them to eat healthy, not giving them like sweets or have stuff like that in the house. I want them to see me, but it's not what I'm going to tell them. It's what I want them to see. I want them to see me work hard. I want them to see me work out. I want them to see me like reading and like going out and exploring. Like, I want them to travel with me and my wife, and at the end of the day, I'm going to try to instill good traits in them. I think that's the job of the parent, but then I'm not going to push them in a certain direction. Like, them seeing me be a business owner will be in push enough. And if they still don't want to do it, I don't need to say anything. If they don't want to do it, then it's like, well, do what you want. I think that's the hard thing for most parents to do, because they want what's best for their kids. So they try to push them into what they think. But the reality is, all that does is really usually push them away. And I didn't have a very good relationship with my parents until later in life, because they pushed me so hard that I was kind of like, F you guys, you did this, you did this. I just think when I want to have open communication with my kids. So for example, let's say you don't want your kid to smoke weed. Like, that's a huge deal to you, whatever. Instead of telling your son like, hey, if you smoke weed, I'm going to do this. I just be like, hey, look, so I wouldn't do it because of these reasons. But if you do want to do it, that's your decision. This is potentially the negative consequences, but it's your life. You choose. And the thing is, it's a scary thing because they may choose wrong. But the reality is, if you try to force them, as soon as they're out of the house, I see this all the time. As soon as they leave high school, they're psychos in college, bro. Absolute psychos. And so instead of trying to like control, I just basically will try to shape. And then hopefully by the stuff I try to shape, that will help him be more successful. But end of the day, it's like, you got to let your kids decide, because like, I am who I am because I want to be here. Like, at some point, like, you got to live your own life. And so trying to force your kids on what you think they should do, it's like, I will give him skills and I will try to, nurture him in positive ways. Like, I want him to see me work hard, be healthy, work out, treat his mom well, all those things. But like, telling kids, that's the thing. Like, what you say to people doesn't mean shit. It's like what they see. And I even think back to my dad. People are like, what's the best lesson your dad taught me? I always say the same thing. I'm like, hard work and discipline. How do he teach you? I watched him. Because that's what people care about, right? Like, if he tells me, or actually, and on top of that, I do respect him for his religious beliefs, right? Like, I don't believe the same things he believes, but my dad, Like he does what he says. He does what he believes. I guess I should say. You see a lot of people say, "Yeah, I'm Christian," this and that. Like they're not. My dad is like actually like full tilt like into it. So yeah, hopefully I answer that question. But I think the best way to raise kids is 0 to 5. You kind of like limit stuff, right? Like so for me, like there probably won't be a lot of sweets. They're gonna probably be eating healthy. They're gonna see me at the gym. I might have them like have like a language tutor to like learn a language, like stuff like that. And then as they get older and the outside world can now start to influence them, I just want them to see me like grinding, working hard, traveling, treating their mom well, and then like they'll turn into who they're supposed to be from a good example. I think people really stress out, and it's like dude, just like show by example, and people will follow.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you nailed it on the head too, and it makes complete sense when you see an out of shape parent. Generally speaking, the kids, it's just like you see the videos on like TikTok where the mom's not healthy and you see the groceries they're pulling out and you're just looking at it and you're like, why are you feeding your kids all that junk food when the SNAP
and they don't know.
stuff?
And the thing is, they don't know, right? So like you're giving them shit and it's like they don't even know that the shit exists. They know after you give it to them, and then they're like, oh, they just like this stuff. It's like because you gave it to them, bro. Like they don't know that stuff exists until they're 5. Like, and when I say that, I just mean until the outside world starts telling you, you don't know it exists. And that was kind of how it was for me, right? Like I didn't know what a cuss word was till I was like 10. You know, like someone said the F word, I was like, what is that? I was like, what is that? And so I just think people have a lot more control than they think, and they just would rather say like, oh yeah, I have a bad kid or this and that. It's like, dude, your kid is a direct reflection, of you at least ages 0 to 5. And even after that, I just think a lot of the bad stuff that you see, it's like the parents are they're too controlling. And I get trying not to let your kid make bad decisions, but the problem with that is like by forcing them to make the right decision, they're eventually just going to make the bad decision anyways. Because it's just like balance in life. Like nobody wants to be forced to do stuff. And it's even in sales, right? Like you don't make stuff like, come on, you pussy, like just do it. Right? Even though they are, but I'm like, hey bro, like end of the day, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But you know deep down you should, but it's up to you. And the thing is like, it's hard to sit there and kind of like in the silence and, oh man, they still might say no. But the reality is like, I started learning sales. I'm like, I have 0 shot if I push them, but at least I have a 50-50 if I let them choose. You have to let people choose.
Wow. No, 100%. I think anybody listening to this, especially myself, as you're going through this, I'm like, that's the exact thing. The rebelliousness usually roots at the things you can rebel against. And then that unforeseen child perspective or teenage perspective, you can't play the tape through. Yeah. And so you're just trying to go against the things for whatever emotional reason. And the next thing you know, you've got a lot deeper.
I mean, we're a bunch of humans living a human experience, man. And like, I'm really hard on myself, but sometimes I just sit there and go, I made the best decision with the information I had. And that you got to trust your kids will do that. It's like, they're not going to make every right decision because they're human. They're learning.
Yeah.
Right. And so we want them to make the right decision so bad. But like, to be honest, like some of the bad things I've done, like it's taught me more. Like I learned because it hurt. So I'll always do that, but I want my kids to have a very open relationship with me where they'll talk to me about stuff, because at the end of the day, like, unless it's like super serious, like I might tell, like if I have a daughter, which I plan on having at least one, like I'm going to be like, look, until you're X age, like you're not sleeping with boys. Okay? Like that's just off limits. But at some point, if that's the route she wants to go, I'll be like, look, I think this is a bad mistake, but like that's what you want to do, go for it. Because if you keep trying to force them not to do stuff, it's like they're going to do it anyways, and they just don't tell you. So I'd rather have my kid tell me the truth. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I'm doing these things. And it's like, fuck, dude. And just like learn to deal with it. Yeah. Versus not. And I think that's a lot of relationships too. Even like something that I really learned this last year is like romantic relationships. If you tell someone the truth and they can't handle it, it's not the right relationship for you. Like you got to be able to just be able to say like how you're feeling and what's going on. And if you meet a person where like they're telling you everything and you're telling them everything, it just is a totally different feeling. It feels way more peaceful than, well, they said they don't want me to do that, so I'm just going to like, deal with it. And then, you deal with it until it comes up again. So I don't know. Maybe it's a little too deep, but that's just how I think you should raise kids. And I think a lot of stuff can apply in adulthood as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, even in what you were saying, your fitness kind of reflected into there. Yeah. The disciplines that got you to your current levels of success are in there. Yeah. Your childhood experiences are in there. Yeah. And so it's a very thorough perspective. And so it's just like, you don't ask advice from somebody who hasn't experienced or done the thing that you want to do. And so I think that's an important question, because entrepreneurs are usually tend to be kind of family oriented.
Yeah.
And if they go ask their parents from a different age and a different era and just different times where they didn't date with social media and they didn't deal with all these different things. And then they also didn't have to deal with, kind of the uncovering of the lies that we're all starting to see kind of as a society in 2026. It's important to kind of have these kinds of discussions and topics discussed. And so I appreciate you sharing that, because I feel like you were just hitting the nails right on the head, one after another. And then I'm seeing your health and your fitness. And then you're like, hey, this is what caused me to do X, Y, and Z. And then I've seen it in other people. And so you're picking up on the patterns, going the experience. And then obviously, I'm just saying, going from sleeping on your parents' couches, you telling your story, to literally start going into private equity. That's not a small journey. And that's not a journey most people can actually successfully make. And so anything you say from that journey in regards to these kinds of questions, I think it holds a lot of weight. It holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, 100%.
And then that kind of brings me into, I think, so when we start our businesses, we have aspirations, we have purposes, and we have, like, you didn't start your business saying, oh, I'm going to have kids, right now. You kind of probably evolved into that as you reach different successes, learned different lessons, had realizations, different pains, different successes, obviously. Kind of the evolution of the purpose and the evolution of the why, and kind of the evolution of the the destination from when you started and you made your first million and you went to 10 million and then you just consistently made your money after that. Can you kind of can you take us on a journey of that evolution to where you're at now? Because you even said 6 months ago or a year ago, I wasn't even thinking about having kids, but now you're in this completely different space, living this, different, lifestyle. And now you're like, I would like to have kids next year.
Yeah. So the question being, say it one more time for me.
So when you started out in business to where you're at now, kind of the purpose and the why.
When I started business, I just want to make shit tons of money. I mean, my life was terrible. I wasn't very happy. I thought, hey, if I make tons of money, my life will be better and I'll be happy, which, is pretty reasonable for a poor person. I think, and I say for most people, that's, a positive mindset. I think let's do more with my life. So, I pushed hard, really hard because I didn't start making money until I was 25. But 22, 25, I failed. Once I started making money, it went really fast. But 22 till 27 was my whole journey from zero to $1 million a month. And all I did was work. In fact, I have some regrets. I remember one day in particular, it was my girlfriend's birthday at the time. And I worked all day until dinner, took her to dinner, came home, worked till midnight, went to bed. And I felt bad after, but at the time I just was it's what it takes. I have to do it. Once I hit $1 million a month, I had a massive party. So I was in Miami at the time. I was living in 1,000 Museum, which is crazy expensive, insanely expensive. Very big celebrities live there, et cetera. It doesn't matter. But the point is I was spending money out of control. And I had this huge party and I had all these random people come over. And this was right when COVID was happening. So I got them to basically hey, I was I'm going to have a party, let it be easy for a day. So they let all these people up and I had all these random people in my house. And I remember some random guy, I still to this day, it's so funny because I can still remember. I don't remember the guy, but I remember he's hey, whose house is this? Oh, it's my house. And he's oh, cool. What are you having the party for? He's probably thinking I was going to say something cool. And I was oh yeah, so I just hit $1 million a month and this is my life. I was telling him a lot and you could tell he was just cool. And he's just yo, shut the fuck up. I'm here to get drunk. And I remember when he said that, in that moment, it hit me and I was oh fuck. It's nobody cares. Actually nobody cares. And it was really devastating to me at the time because you got to understand, for the last 5 years, I sacrificed everything. Everything. You hear, the movies, the Rocky scenes, whatever. I lived it for 5 years. No dating, no girls, nothing. I didn't start dating really till I was 27. I had one girlfriend from 16 to 18, and then I had a couple of short flings, but I wouldn't even count them. And then I didn't have another girlfriend until I was 27, serious girlfriend. And he said that and it really fucks me up, in the head. I was I'm doing $1 million a month, which is 99.9% people will never do. Nobody knows about me. in the grand scheme. Like these guys don't care. I was like, so what does that mean for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos? Because like I know it sounds crazy, but there's someone somewhere who doesn't know who they are. Like they're like Amazon, like Jeff Bezos. You're like, dude, are you kidding me? Right? But they don't know. So this took me down like a really dark path for a while. Eventually, I settled on, we don't know, I shouldn't say we. I don't know 100% why we're here. I don't know 100% the purpose of life. I don't know if it matters what I'm doing or not doing, but I like to grow and I like to be all I can be. So like that should be the goal, and it shouldn't be like what I get out of it. And so that was a huge shift for me. So I'd say since then, that's really what I've been driving after, because every time, like, and I did the opposite too. Like I tested this theory. So right after that, shortly after, I took a 6-month sabbatical. So I stepped out of my company 100%, no calls, nothing, just like completely fucked off. And I was traveling, doing whatever I wanted, total hedonistic lifestyle, just like not even in a bad way per se, but just hedonism to me is like all you're thinking about is like, how can I pleasure myself? Food, drink, gym, like just whatever, right? And man, I just remember I went back to work after 6 months. Like, yeah, I don't want to go back, dude. I want to work. And I remember the first day of work, I felt so much better. Like it's like I'd been eating McDonald's for 6 months, and then I had a salad. And I was like, whoa! Like I felt terrible. And that's when it shifted. I was like, dude, I just feel better when I work hard. I feel better when I'm pushing. So I wish it didn't sometimes. I get annoyed. Like sometimes I really wish I could just chill for weeks. But when I feel my best, I push. I take a day or two, potentially maybe even less, like 3 hours, go to dinner with my girl, go on a quick trip, whatever, and then back to the grind. And the grind just means like I'm just learning, I'm expanding, I'm growing, I'm reading books, I'm like whatever. So, and I think most people get to that point, it's like until, when I was poor, people would be like, money doesn't matter. But like, you're fucking poor. Shut up. Right. And I just didn't believe it. And then I had to make a bunch of money. And then I had a phase like that too with women. Like guys were like, oh, monogamy is better. And I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. I was like, you just can't get girls. And the hard part is that is true for some cases, right? Like some people are poor, some people can't get girls. And then I had to go through that. And then I was like, oh, I think it is better. Right. So some things that you couldn't have told me, but yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I learned was it doesn't really matter about the goal. And that's also what goes back to results. It doesn't matter about the result, because when you do your best and the goal is growth, you're going to grow either way. Right. Like whether you win or lose, you're going to grow. And so people get so caught up in the result, and we all want the result, right? But at the end of the day, the result doesn't really matter because it's not going to feel any different. You're not going to feel any fucking different. Maybe for a day, 2 max. So if you're really just focused on the journey, like growing, and you can really actually enjoy that, man, that's when life like actually feels great, because it's just peaceful. You're just like focused on like doing your best, and you don't give a shit about the outcome because no one gives a fuck, and you won't care either. That just took me a long time to understand, because when people say it, it's hard to believe, and it's like, are you like, so it doesn't matter? But I've done both sides of the coin, extreme. And I think that's what you're supposed to do is like, I think you just push yourself as hard as you can. You grow, you become the best version of yourself. And yeah, what happens doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you hit the goal. It really does not. And a lot of people, they don't believe that. But when you stay in the game long enough, if the goal is all that matters, you're not going to keep doing it. Because like money is the goal. Once you make that amount of money, you're going to stop. And I had to come to terms with that, because I was making so much money. It's like, okay, well, like, I don't really need to keep working. So they're like, well, why do you work? I'm like, well, the alternative is to sit around and do nothing. That isn't fun. So like, I guess I have to work. I don't make the rules.
So you basically tested it. You had a hypothesis and you tested it.
I'm really extreme. Like, unfortunately, for better or worse, like it's hard for me to believe people sometimes. And so I'm just like, all right, I'll test it for myself. But that's the greatest teacher's experience. It's the slowest, but sometimes you have to go through it. Same thing with the girl stuff. Same thing with, I would say, like money, kids. I don't have kids yet, but like I'm pretty confident like that's the right direction to go, right? So I just think, yeah, some things in life you have to go through yourself, but I think at the end of the day, like I don't know all the answers to life, but I do know that I feel better when I push, and I'm trying to grow, and I'm trying to become a better person, and I just feel better. Like I have pride in myself. I feel good about where I am. I'm making people's lives better. Like I'm more patient. I'm more kind. Like, I'm not, it's like, you just know the stuff that makes you not proud. And so just do less of that and do more of the stuff that does.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, I love that. I love that. No, 100%. Sometimes you have to learn what you want and what matters by doing the opposite. And that's definitely something that resonates with me.
Yeah.
So, quick question too. I'm curious. So when you go from 0 to 1 million, kind of back to the beginning, I think most people are in that era. Everyone's like, hey, I need to hit my first million. And then obviously everything after that does matter. When you got that first original program that you were in, that allowed you to hit the 10 million or the 1 million that then led to the 10 million. When you went from 1 million to 10 million, 0 million to 1 million, were there different mentors or different like programs or information that you had to get access to? Like you mentioned here in raise your prices, basically. And then right here, like what were those? Because it sounds like you have the unlock. It sounds like you have the formula.
Yeah, I would say so. 0 to 1 million is 0 to 1 million is just like pushing yourself like a mother effer. Like the more you work, the more you make. So 0 to 100K a month, basically, you need like 4 employees. And you can basically be a terrible leader, terrible manager, micromanage everything, and just work yourself to the bone. Okay. Then going from 1 to 10 million, like you're doing, let's say, just close, 833,000 to $1 million a month, right? So at that point, the harder you work does nothing. You cannot work any harder. So then it's all about team. I hired a lot of people. I mean, I've spent probably $3 million on mentors, and that's like when I stopped counting. I mean, over the last 8 years, maybe even 6 years, because I haven't really hired that many mentors the last couple of years. I take that back. They've just been different facets of life. Like it's not business. It's like personal development, relationships, stuff like that. So really the best skill you can learn is like hire A players, period. Not even management, not like marketing, not sales. All that stuff, marketing, sales, all that stuff, 0 to 100K, the skills is the most important. Like the skills you personally have, because the harder you work, the more you're going to make. Past 100,000 a month, it's all about hiring. So think of it just like choosing a team or choosing a girlfriend or a wife. Like the better you pick, the better it's going to go. And they're like, well, yeah, but what if she's a shitty girlfriend? Well, yeah, you can make her a little better. But a shitty girlfriend is a shitty girlfriend, just like a shitty boyfriend. A 3 to a 5 is still shitty. And people talk about these leadership books. They're a bunch of crap. I remember going through all this leadership stuff and I was trying to polish a turd. And no, I'm serious. I just would hire idiots. I would just hire people that they're not competent. They didn't want to work hard. You ask them what's your goal? And they're like, to take as many days off as possible. Oh, perfect. It's just stupid stuff like that. And I started to realize the better I hired people, the less stress I'd have in my business. And then, same thing with girlfriends. The better the girlfriend, the less stress you have in a relationship. The better, the dog, the better the friend. It's just selection. It's picking. It's choosing. The better you get at that, the better the company will grow. And it comes down to that because after that point, your team is so big. I had 100 staff at one point. Dude, your team is, I talked to maybe 20 of them, if that. Right. So I can't talk to everyone. So does it come down to how good your management is, or does it come down to how big of a warrior they are, how big of a stud? So that's really the only 2 skills. The problem is to get good at hiring staff, you have to know those skills so you can spot them. You can identify them. Right. But most people, they can't get past 0. And then the people who do get to 100,000 a month, they can't ever get past that because they're horrible leaders. And they think they need to read another book on leadership, or they need to, buy another piece of duct tape. And they're just completely fucking clueless to what it takes to hire good staff. No, they have an issue and then they just do the same thing again. And they just go, all right, you're hired, go in there, good luck. And it's the good luck part is not the problem. The problem is you hired an idiot. You got to pay more, maybe potentially, or, they don't have experience doing it. It's you're not hiring on potential. You're hiring on actual skill. Okay. Actual skill. So for example, if you were hiring a nanny, would you hire someone who has never had nannying experience before? Or would you hire someone who's been doing it for 20 years? So obviously a question, is it not? But when it comes to our businesses, we're well, I really need someone. I'm really desperate. And and it's they just take the first person who shows interest. It's bro, you're going to pay them money. They're going to take your money. You're going to babysit them like a child, and you're going to get pissed off and more stressed out because not only are you paying them, but they can't even do the job right. That took me a long time to learn, probably 6 years. But ever since then, I'm just ruthless with hiring. I don't give a fuck. I will sit there and just eat shit, or I'll do the extra work, or we'll just not make as much money until we find the right person. Because the wrong person, you bring them in, you're going to lose at least 6 months. 6 months of pay, 6 months of mistakes, 6 months of bullshit. I remember one time we brought this guy in who was like client success management. He was fucking basically stealing, for lack of a better word. And because he was supposed to be full time. He was working maybe 4 hours a day. And he would just promise the world to these clients, no deliverability, wouldn't do anything he said. And I went in there and like I saw what he was doing. Like, you know, after a while, because my company was big, I was like, dude, you're a piece of shit. You're like a piece of shit. But who hired him? I did, right? So that was a long way of saying you got 2 skills. 0 to 100K is like the more skills you have. Hiring, ads, not hiring, excuse me, sales, marketing, ads, fulfillment, that type of stuff. And then past 100K, it's just how well can you assemble a team, right? So if you even think about the NBA or the NFL or whatever sport you like, the owner makes the most money. Why? Because he assembles the team. He puts everyone in place. So if you want to get really rich, you just got to learn how to assemble team. And you can like argue about how that is. Like good idea, like Elon Musk, he's an idea guy. Everyone wants to work for Elon because he has great ideas. Or, you know, you're just good at like picking or whatever it is. But like that's the goal. And if you can do that, you just get out of people's ways and then you make money. It's just like most people are just so incompetent with that because it's the hardest skill to have, but it's the most valuable. Because think about it, if you know how to hire good talent, you don't have to know any skills. And it has the most leverage because you can't learn things fast enough. Like you get to a certain level, it's like if I want to learn Spanish, it's gonna take me like, I don't know, 6 months, a year and a half, like really grinding. But if I just hire someone who's bilingual who like knows marketing, like I could do that tomorrow, right? Like it's faster. They can speak it. So assembling the teams is the best skill you can ever learn at scale. Because if you want to have a life where you make a lot of money and you're not stressed out, that comes down to who you hire. And if you hire an idiot, you'll be stressed out of your mind. It's like having a bad girlfriend, you'll be stressed out of your mind. And people talk all about like, work on your relationships and work on your team and all this shit. It's like, bro, just pick better, you know, just pick better. Like, and that was my own realization. Like, I was like, all this stuff they're saying is a fucking bunch of bullshit. It's like, I just picked an idiot. Like, it's like you're trying to make an idiot less of an idiot. And like, sorry for the lack of a better word, but like when I say an idiot, it's like, God, they're just not competent or like, they don't even want to work hard. Like, why did I hire this guy? Right. And I used to think like, oh, diversity and inclusion and all this stuff like is great. Like, not everyone on my team has to like work out as hard as me or like eat healthy. Like, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm like, but do they care about the same things I care about? Like, so in short, it's like, do they want to be the best they can be? And do they take pride in doing a good job? And then do they have the skills? It's those 3 things. They have that, they're good. But I'll get some people, it's like they have the skill, but they want family and work-life balance. Probably not a fit. It's like they care more about the work-life balance than actually doing their best. Or, you know, like they work really hard, but they don't have the skill. Like you just got to make sure they have those 3 things and then things will go smooth. But if they don't have those, I've just, you know, I can't even tell you how many mistakes I made in hiring doing that.
I think that's also kind of where the AI discussion comes in right now as well. Cause like the founders I talk to, the number one headache in a business is staff. It's team.
Dude, 100%.
And
100%.
What we're seeing now is your reliance, like you said before, you know, 5 becomes 3, you know, 1 can do the work of 3 now with AI.
Yeah.
And now that we have AI agents coming out, like I spoke to a founder and he's like, I'm not going to fire and replace, but the moment they slip up, I'm just going to fire them and then replace them with AI. And so it's always enlightening to hear the nitty gritty about hiring and the importance of hiring as we go into the AI era, because a lot of these roles, obviously not every role, are going to continuously start to be supplemented or replaced with AI. And for the very reasons that you just stated. And so that's super enlightening.
Because it's not fun. Like nothing is worse than paying someone money, in my opinion, and then also having to do their job for them. It's like a lose-lose. Like imagine giving your kids money for chores and then you still did the chores. Like, what are we doing? And most of the advice when people struggle, like you said, founder has a bad team. Be a better leader, do this, have better meetings, all this shit. And there's a little bit of truth in that. But realistically, just get rid of them. Like, just get rid of them. Because the best players I've ever had, I looked at them and I was like, what made them the best? I was like, they didn't need oversight. They didn't need me to tell them what to do. They showed up on time. The clients loved them. They were fucking smart. They were driven. It's who they are. It's not what you have to tell them or teach them. It's like someone who wants to work hard is going to work hard regardless of you. Someone who wants to be a lazy piece of shit is going to be a lazy piece of shit. So when they talk about culture is like, do people think the same way as you? It doesn't mean they do the same things as you, the same way as you. So I realized for me, it's like, I really have done well because I like doing my best. I like doing a good job. I take pride in like, growth and stuff like that. Like I that's what I enjoy. So when people align with that, they kill it for me. When they come in and they're like, oh, this is just another job. I just want a paycheck and I want as much time off as possible. Like, how does that mindset going to give you the best results? And the answer is it won't. So you can teach them all the shit you want, SOP this, read this book. It's a waste of time. And that took me a long time. That's why I've just started to tell people, like, you just learn how to hire right. You hire right, all the other shit doesn't matter. The SOPs, the leadership, all doesn't matter because that's who they are. And I look at my best hires of all time. It's like, I don't talk to them because they don't need me to. It's like I just let them do their thing. Right. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so is this kind of the stuff you talk on the infinite income?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, infinite income was basically made not really for like lead gen or like anything like that. Probably like most people. For me, I just realized like I'm a very, growth driven person. And so that means I spend a lot of time alone. I'm reading, I have a girlfriend. So then obviously my free time usually is spent with her. So it's like, I don't have a lot of time and I want to get a coffee and like people just hate that shit. So I don't know how it's been like for you, but for me, I said, okay, how can I easily meet high level guys, make it like an hour or 2 hours max, so it's efficient, and they're gonna want to do it, and they're always gonna say yes, etc. I was like, podcast. That's the only way because a podcast puts them as the star, and everyone says yes, right? Like it's just that it's a give instead of a take. But when someone's like, hey, you want to have coffee? You want to hang out? I'm like, no, bro, fuck off. Like, no, I don't want to have coffee because I don't even know how it's going to go. Now, what I do now is I will sometimes, if someone really wants to talk to me, I'm like, yo, come work out with me at the gym. Because like, if they talk to me in between sets, that's fine. But outside of that, I won't spend time with someone unless like I'm really trying to be more of their friend because it's just like too much of a loss on time. It's like, bro, I got a girlfriend. Like I'm trying to build my future. I want to build businesses. I got to read. I got to go to the gym. It's like there's only so much time in the day. So that's actually what it started with. And so now I've done like 100, I don't know how many episodes, but like 110 or something. And like that's been the best bang for my buck because they show up. I ask them all the shit I was going to ask them anyway. It gets recorded. They love it. And then I just share it. And it's like as I'm going through the podcast, if I have more questions, I just ask them. And they don't care. But if it's like coffee, they're like, yo, this guy's just asking me and milking me for free. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, that's actually why I did it. And so the cool thing is like, I don't care if it gets big or it doesn't get big. It's been the best way I found to actually network and connect with higher level guys. And higher level guys all think the same. That's the thing. Like, I do the same thing. It's like, why when people ask me for coffee, I say no. It's like, bro, because like I get asked for shit all the time. Right. So the last thing I want to do after work is more work. But when someone like asks me on a podcast, it's great because it's like, it's my story. I get to hear it. I get the clips. I get the content. It's more of a win-win. So that's actually, so in terms of the people I have on, it's like business and it's also personal development. But I like both because podcasts I like is like Modern Wisdom. I really like that podcast. Diary of a CEO I used to like, but it's getting a little kind of weird for me lately. Like there's a couple like relationship stuff out there I like Esther Perel. Sometimes I'll listen to her. Lewis Howes every once in a while has a cool guest. Like I just like learning about like business, personal development, psychology, and so anyone I find unique or interesting, I'll usually bring them on. Yeah. So. All
right. Yeah. Okay. So because you recently were talking about everybody hates their 9 to 5. And
did I say that?
Yeah,
it's probably true. I probably did say that.
Yeah, it's from one of your podcasts. I go from my notes.
Oh, okay. No, that's good. That's good. That's good. I probably did.
Well, I like the topic though because kind of I think it goes in line with the driven and like the A players and just in general because like how do I say this? Business is for people who are willing to sacrifice, but more so are driven as well too.
Yeah.
And so like. What is your methodology or ideology around someone who doesn't run a business yet, but has the drive? Maybe they are somebody's A player. It sucks for the for the person who's got them. So I mean, you might be helping talk somebody out of being someone's A player right now. What is kind of the ideology and the message to that person? Because I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people are A players that maybe are entrepreneurs right now, but they want to. As the economy is obviously going different directions, I think that there's a lot of uncertainty in the future for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know someone who literally replaced their $150,000 a year CFO with AI. So we're seeing now the C-suites are starting to get demolished.
I can see that happen, yeah.
Yeah, at least for the CFOs.
That's a position where it's like, you don't...
It's just crunching numbers and analyzing and projecting.
Yeah.
What is your message or your stance?
So number one is, in philosophy, like Socrates, he has that like quote that's like, know thyself. So number one, it's like, if you know that you're an entrepreneur, I'd actually say it's been interesting because I have two brothers. So like, I'm the most like entrepreneurial. My middle brother is definitely an entrepreneur. Like he makes good money, like 30, 40 G's a month, but he's a system player, 100%. And then my youngest brother is a little bit in the middle, I think. Like he's kind of like right now in his life, he's like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Right? Know who you are. I just know when they tell me stories about what's happening at work, I'm like, yo, fuck that. Like I would rather kill myself. Like literally. Like it's that. It sounds so visceral. Like I visually hate it. Like being told what to do. I built my life for freedom. So number one is like know yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur. It's cool. Nothing wrong with it. Just like know yourself. Number two is if you want to do it and you're not doing it, you're just scared of what's going to go wrong. And the way I took pressure off myself when I started a business is I just said, like, which is the truth. It's like nobody fucking cares. You're only scared it's going to go wrong because what other people are going to think of you. So, like, just like for lack of a better word, just stop being a pussy. And just fucking do it, because if it doesn't work, you can go back to the thing you're doing right now that you fucking hate. Like, and even if you can't, can you find a comparable job? Yeah. So when I went for it, I remember I was 25 and I was like, I don't have the money, so I can't get help. And I hated my life. Or excuse me, at 22. And then at 25, I was in the same spot. I was like, this thinking isn't helping me. Like, I've gone literally nowhere. And I'm making excuses. So finally I said, fuck it. Like, I need help. So what did I do? I went into debt. I paid money on a credit card. People are like, oh, don't do it. It's like, I have no other option. Like, this is the only option for me. And once I burned the boats and I just said, I will like make this work, that's when things started to work. I just think people are so afraid. I've even done this in my personal life, bro. Like, we were talking off camera a little bit. Like, for years, I was really struggling with the girl stuff, meaning I was like, man, one girl for the rest of my life. Oh, fuck. There's no fucking way, bro. Like, no. I've worked my whole life to get to this point. Now I can have any girl I want. Now they're telling me I can only have one girl. No, fuck that. Like, I can't do it. So like I wouldn't date multiple girls, but like I get a girlfriend, then like I kind of like, oh, we'd be off, then we'd be on, then we'd be off, then we'd be on. And like I just was like, I couldn't do it, dude. And then finally I just realized, one, that life is like insanely unpeaceful. Like because it's not unpeaceful for you per se. It's like the girls, you're hurting the girls. Girls need safety. And when they're feeling like, you're got one foot in, one foot, bro, they don't feel safe. And then number two, I realized I can't get, like, I'm just scared. Like, I'm scared of getting hurt. I'm scared of getting my heart broken. I'm scared of like them leaving me. I'm scared of them taking like all this shit, right? So I take as many precautions as I can with like prenup, whatever. And then it's like, let yourself be open and get fucked. Like it's just because like that's where the growth comes from, and that's what makes it worth it. So it's kind of the same way in business. Like, you just have to be willing to look at it in the eye and say, you know what, this may not work, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways. And like, if you're not gonna die, you'll be okay. And I know sometimes like when you're in a bad situation, like I just got out of, I was not like mentally, I just got out of a bad situation in my personal life. Like it was like really eating at me, I want to say for like 5 months. And I like 2 weeks ago, like I just woke up one day and I was like, oh, like, yeah, I feel okay now. But it's always fear. And whenever you're making decisions based on fear, that's not like the way to make decisions. You want to make decisions based on like what your future self will think of you. And your future self, if you're honest, like he's not going to look back and be like, God, man, you didn't fucking make it. Oh, you're such a loser, bro. Wow. You shouldn't even have tried, bro. Why'd you try? He's going to look back and say, at least you tried, right? I mean, isn't that what we're all going to say to ourselves? Like, if something doesn't work out, do you think we're really going to look back and be like, yeah, you were doing your best, but it didn't work out. So like, yeah, you shouldn't have tried, you little bitch. Like, it's always the opposite, right? And so when I just think of my older self, and eventually I got to a point where, let's just use the woman example. I eventually got to a point where I was like, my older self, like I knew like deep down, I was like, being with one woman felt better. Like there's a million reasons I could go into, but it just feels better. And I knew my older self would be proud of that. And I was like, yeah, dude, fuck it. Let's go. Let's just do it. Because like at the end of my life, if I didn't do it, I would feel more regret. I'd be like, dude, you took the easy path. You took the easy way out. You just like chase hedonism or whatever. And yeah, it's scary for sure. Like, especially because my childhood, like I had my parents forced me to break up with my girlfriend when I was like 18 because I was Mormon. They were wanting me to go on 2 years. That's a whole other story. But Like, long story short, I guess going back to the business thing, like, yes, it's going to be scary, but you just have to know that your older self, whether it works or doesn't, is going to be super proud of you. And that's what matters, because when you die, what else do you have? Like, I don't know what happens after death, but if this is all we got, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to look back at all the things I did. And if I did my best, you'll have no shame. Like, what shame can you have doing your best? Even now, like, I look back, I've made regrets, but I have no shame, bro, because I always was doing my best. Like, it was always coming from a good place. Like, what else can you ask for?
Absolutely. And that's the whole growth mindset as well anyways, because in all the failures, you learn the things that get you to the success.
I just don't resonate with people who, they never do anything. Like, I mean, you just talk to some people, it's like, dude, we had this conversation 2 years ago. Especially in coaching, consulting, like, it's wild. Like, I will talk to people, I'm like, bro, you literally have gone nowhere. And they're just like, every excuse in the book to like feel better about the situation. I'm like, ah, dude, like, I just can't imagine living your life like where you literally will make an excuse no matter what about why you don't do like what you want to do. I just don't resonate. And, you know, some people will take that as like I'm too harsh or too critical or whatever, but I just feel like I'm honest. I'm straight to the point. It's like, dude, like, you don't like how you look, go to the gym. Stop eating. You don't like your relationship, break up with her. You don't like how much money you make, suck it up and like do something else. And then, oh, but. What it takes. So I've struggled too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I sometimes like have my own, I'm like, yeah, man, dude, come on. But everything in my life that has turned out better, it's just from making those hard decisions and just knowing like which version of myself will I be more proud of. And then that's usually the right decision, no matter how hard it is to make. Because sometimes it is hard. Like, you know, like it is hard. Yeah, like a year ago, bro, you could not have convinced me I'd like pick one girl. Like, I was like, dude, you're like, this is so fucking stupid. And now it's like, it's completely shifted and I just made the decision and now that's what I do. And like, it gets easier. Like, it was hard for a couple of months or whatever, but then it's like, yeah, like you choose that and it gets easier. It's like anything. So anyways.
Well, and do you think that that identity in a sense is kind of part of that next stage in life, going into private equity and taking, you know, a different path forward?
Yeah, it's just like in terms of private equity, I looked at like what I'm doing. Like, if I'm doing $2 million a month, where can I go from there in this industry? You really can't. You're already at the top. Like, you're already at the top of the top usually. And I was so done for you work, no sell. Like, it's just like consulting. So yeah, part of it is like I'm bored. Part of it is like I want to get to the next level. That's what I have to do. It's the right vehicle, right? Warren Buffett talks about it all the time. Even Alex Hormozi's book that came out, $100 million offers. I thought that hit the nail on the head. It's like I have clients who have great offers, horrible CEOs, and they'll make like 10x return on ad spend. And I get someone who's an amazing CEO, but like a shitty offer, they make like 2. So getting into private equity is just the next step. It's like, if I want to get to another level, I got to level up. And Alex Becker, I don't know, you know Alex Becker? Yeah. So he had a Facebook post, I'll summarize it, but he basically said, the reason you became successful is you took a risk. We all did, right? All of us at one point had to take some risk. Like, you getting to where you are at, where I'm at, we all had to take a risk of failing, right? And then he goes, people get to a certain number and then they don't want to take a risk. And so they never grow. So for example, think about it. I get to 2 million a month. And it's like, hey, I want to get into private equity so bad. I want to do it, but I'm making 2 million a month. Like, oh no, I'll do it later. Whatever excuse. And then eventually, like, I did that for like a year and a half. And then eventually I was like, bro, like, you're just being a pussy. Like, you're going to have to take a step back. You're going to have to lose some money, right? You're not going to make as much for a little while. And then you're going to go back up. But you got to learn a new skill. It's like, to get to the next level, private equity is the way you got to go. It's like private equity, tech, or hedge funds. The benefit I have is like I have some portfolio companies that like have tech or they have hedge fund experience. So I can still get into those as well by like proxy. But with my skill set, I was like, there's nothing that makes more sense than private equity. It's like, if you know how to grow companies and you take pieces in a bunch of companies, you're going to make shit tons of money, period. Like, it is. So I'm making less now for the time being, but it's like, it takes time to like find those companies. There's less of them out there. Like, I've had 400 applications for someone and I've picked 2 companies so far. Like, because I say no to most of them because they suck, right? Yeah, it's just, I think that's how life is like, you got to be willing to look bad or fail or look stupid. And then it's the same advice I give myself. It's like, is it a little nerve wracking? Yeah. Am I making less money? Yeah. Could I look stupid? Yeah. But you just start thinking about, does anyone really care? No. It's just your fear of judgment. It's your fear of failing. It's your own personal shit. And like at the end of the day, no one really cares, right? Like, did they care when I was making it? They don't, you know, it's
such a powerful perspective.
It's hard. It's hard
So
too. Cause
powerful.
like, I think you
Nobody
feel,
cares.
yeah. And I think, well, yeah, but I think the thing too, is you feel stuff. So like, even right now, like when I'm saying this, like I feel scared at times, like going into private equity, or like I'll feel scared at times, like committing to one girl. But I think someone, like recently, someone said to me, like, your feelings are data. They're not always true though. Sometimes your feelings are telling you what to do. Sometimes they're not. And so if you just have like a thought come through, or like, let's say you have a feeling, or like you have a thought and that gives you a feeling, right? You know, maybe someone pisses you off, right? That doesn't mean in the moment, like you want to bash their head in, but it'll pass if you wait 5 hours, right? So that probably wasn't like something to do. So what I've gotten better at is like, sometimes I just know it's a thought or a feeling, it will pass. And then sometimes it's like, if I keep feeling the same thing, it's like, that's telling you, it's giving you a direction. It's like, hey, like, you might want to go this way. So like for the girl stuff, for a long time, years, like it just didn't feel right to me. Like every time I tried to do the multiple girlfriends or like be a player, whatever, I just never felt good, bro. Like I tried, I really did. And then same thing in business. Like, you know, I was like, hey, I'm going to just stay here. And I was like, it didn't feel good. So anyways, we can go into I'm delve way too deep probably sometimes, but yeah, I think I've gotten better at like knowing feelings. Some are true, some are not. And, which version of myself will be more proud of, like that version of Tanner. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. Oh, wow. So you're basically doing the acquisition.com is basically kind of, so you're like little Alex Hormozi.
A little different. I mean, a little different. Like, I mean, Alex is his own person, of course, but also like the way, in a sense, yeah.
I mean, journey wise.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah.
You
in a
hit your
sense,
ceiling, and then it's like,
yeah, in a
like,
sense,
okay.
yeah. Like I'm gonna try to do like some profit shares with companies, and we're gonna be a little bit more hands on. I think before, he's only basically doing the workshops, and then he's doing the portfolio. So he takes a piece of company. I'm also open like doing profit share, and which I mean doesn't matter, but regardless, yeah. Like I think that's the right path, and it just makes sense because I don't try to like follow someone per se. But after talking to a ton of people, seeing different businesses, seeing where the most billionaires come from, it just makes sense. And it's like, if most billionaires are there, there's a reason for it. And then when I started to see like the reasoning, I was like, okay, that just makes sense for my skill set. So,
yeah. No, wow. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the depth, by the way.
Yeah.
I think when you said sorry for that, I'm like, no, deeper the better. I think because that's where the value really is in the depth and the way you're able to articulate and tell the stories and really kind of visualize the journey. Super impactful. And I know that anybody watching this is going to see
I'm glad to help,
the same.
bro. Yeah, and good questions. I mean, you ask good questions. So I've been on a lot of podcasts. If you ask bad questions, you get bad answers.
Yeah, no, 100%. So as we get ready to wrap up here in the last few minutes, what is really like the three things for the first version of you from, you know, being on your parents' couch? Mm-hmm. What are the three things now that you know that without having to have bought that program? And I think you covered them probably already, but just to really kind of get the key takeaway summary.
Sure.
What are the three things that you would tell him right now to get him out of that? Yeah.
So I'd be like, first I would have said raise your prices because you need money for ads, right? If you don't have a big following, you have to run ads. So you need to raise your prices. So when you sell something, let's say $2,000 program, costs you $1,000 ads, you have $1,000 more, you can rinse and repeat that, right? So like raise your price, run ads, and then learn sales. Those are the top three things. And I knew those things. Like I knew how to run ads, I knew sales, but I just hadn't raised my price. That was what was missing. If you do those three things, you sell something at a high price, you know how to run ads profitably, and you can sell, that can get you to 0 to 100K a month. And then from there, it's like all about team, like we talked about.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not every day that you get all this information in one conversation. So thank you so much for coming on here. Sure. And just quick message, make sure that you take your AI and you transcribe this whole episode so you can get all of these nuggets and you can, you know, internalize and introspectively, you know, see how these might apply to your life, because we're not where we want to be because we aren't who we need to be yet, but there are other people who are where we want to be, and they literally have all the keys to unlock everything that we want in our life. So thank you guys for watching another episode of Unbroken Marketer.